Barcelona women's team. You think the men's team caused us trauma? Ladies and gentlemen, the women's team would cause you absolute depression. Because never in my life did I ever think that I would be talking about women's football, first of all, and second of all, never in my life did I go through a history of a club and genuinely got scared so hard than the women's Barcelona team. Oh my god, what I'm about to tell you guys, I'll show you guys. And the history of this club's women's side is genuinely unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, last night they had a game where they beat Real Madrid women's team by 6-2 only in the first leg, and they were playing at Real Madrid stadium as well. Brother, 6-2? Brother, Real Madrid women's team makes me sick to my stomach, ladies and gentlemen. Because what do you mean that the first leg of a Champions League game, Real Madrid Champions League heritage apparently doesn't run through the women's team? But what do you mean? In the first leg you lost by 6-2, brother. In the second leg, just don't play. Because when you don't play, you forfeit. And when you forfeit, it's only a 3-0 loss. Just don't go, don't play, raise the white flag and don't play the second leg at Barcelona, because that is just embarrassing, man. But that's not the topic of tonight's episode. When I saw the match, when I saw the fixture, I went and made a deep search on the history of the El Clásico between the two teams, right? Ladies and gentlemen, apparently Barcelona has 21 wins in El Clásico with 0 draws, and Real Madrid women's team only have 1 win. So you're telling me out of 23 games, you have won 1 time against Barcelona women's team? Brother, don't play the El Clásicos. You're just embarrassing yourself. Why do you even bother to play? I genuinely don't get it. This is embarrassing. Not even in the Champions League you could have beaten this Barcelona team. I'm sorry, but you're giving our rivals just to go through with it, man. Ladies and gentlemen, apparently this season, the Barcelona women's team on aggregate has a 16-2 score against Real Madrid. Do you know how insane that statistic is? We are, 14 goals down. We are 14 goals down against the Barcelona women's team. Now I want to see this Barcelona women's team attack before I judge anything, because it's genuinely just insane. It is this season only. Ladies and gentlemen, I take a look at the attack. There's a player by name Pajor, and she has become the all-time leading scorer in women's El Clásico history, netting 13 goals and surpassing Putellas, which is a Barcelona women's legend, right? She joined the Barcelona team last season. You're telling me you broke the world record of El Clásico history of women's side. Only last season you joined, and you have only 13 goals. You scored around 13 goals in a season and a half. Brother, in total they play 5 games in a season and a half? You broke the record already in a season and a half? Brother, probably half of her career goals came against Real Madrid. What is our Real Madrid sisters doing? It's genuinely insane. So I take a look and deep dive even more, right? I see the score on my screen. I look at the head-to-heads, right? And take a look at this, fam. 4-0. Last night, obviously, 6-2. 2-0. 4-0. We won. This was our only win. March 23. I just know our sisters, our Real Madrid sisters, have March 23 in their calendar every single year, and I celebrate it like it's their goddamn birthday, man. Because this is the only one. We only won here. This is the only win, and apparently I've heard people who watch women's Barcelona team, I heard that they robbed Barcelona women's team as well, so we won by a goddamn robbery. Shock! And then we have March 12, and then after that, it's literally total domination, fam. 3-1 we lost. 5-0, 5-0, 4-0, 3-0, 5-0. And it's all literally minimum by 3 to 4 goals. It is look at it! Oh, 9-1. They beaten us 9-1 only back in 2019. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have a statistic that I just found out. Real Madrid women's team was made back in COVID days. So in 2019, that was where Real Madrid women's team was made and played professionally, right? So it's understandable the Barcelona dominance over the few years because they have a way more established women's team than Real Madrid. So that's excusable, right? But 6 years is more than enough to establish a team, fam. But you cannot really say that considering that Arsenal is 6 years now under Arteta and they have done absolutely nothing with it. But ladies and gentlemen, I took a look to the more deep dive on history, right? I look at the league. Barcelona women's team. First of all, look at that goddamn record of the last 5 games. That aside, they're obviously first in this year, right? They're going to win the league. I took a look at the last year. 24-25. First. 23-24. First. They won it here. They won it here. They won it here. Yep, they did. Did they win it here? They did. Don't tell me. This is the last I could go. This is literally the last. Did they win it here? Please tell me. Oh my god, they didn't win it there. Ladies and gentlemen, they have won the league for the past 7 years in a row. Barcelona women's team, ladies and gentlemen, have won the league 9 times in their history. They have won the Champions League 3 times in their history. I think it's the most ever in the Champions League history. Supercopa with 6 wins. Copa del Reina for 9 wins. And then they have, I believe, Catalonia Femini. I don't know what that is, but they have won it 2 times as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you call total domination on your screens. This team genuinely needs to be stopped, man. The fact that they have won Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or after Ballon d'Or. You have players like Putellas. You have players like Bon Mati, which is they call that the Lionel Messi of women, right? It is unbelievable the fact that they are rewriting history of the men and the men's El Clásicos here in the women's El Clásicos, man. Because first of all, they have this amazing rivalry, one-sided rivalry, you could say. And second of all, you have them doing the same fixtures as the men at this point. 6-2. I remember that game, goal after goal, fam. That 6-2 game where Thierry Henry played as well, right? I remember that game. Same thing happened here in the Champions League. Real Madrid women's team genuinely needs to be rearranged, in my opinion. Real Madrid women's team needs to be talked about. Because this is unacceptable at this point, man. They are winning the league by 97 goal difference, fam. That is just insane to think about. We have to bring up Perez and tell him that the women's team is actually important. Women's football should be important in my opinion. Now, this is not me being a goddamn performative here for all the women watching, but thank you so much for watching. Like the video, comment down, I see every single comment. Let me know if you want me to make a deep analysis video of the second leg. I'm down to do that. The second leg will be happening soon as well. And there are going to be other games as well against Barcelona, Real Madrid women's team. So if you guys enjoyed this, I mean, let me know in the comment section. We might do a women's football El Clásico only. Thank you so much for watching and gracias, amigos.